How's it going, guys? Welcome back to a Road to a Swift project where I'll be creating various Swift projects until I get a job or collaboration with a company who wants to have their very own app created. It is also a nice opportunity to provide and showcase my Xcode and Swift coding abilities along the way. In today's episode, we will be continuing with Tuto Movie and making some improvements to our directory and file organizations, as well as adding some placeholder images and creating buttons with some designs around them, all whilst practicing good, dry, do not repeat yourself coding. Let's get started. So today we'll be working on the home view page, where users will be able to see the feature movies, top rated movies, new movies, etc. etc. But first, as mentioned, we will improve the structure of the files and organize them into a directory. If you are unaware, a directory is basically a fancy name for a folder where we will be putting our files in. So, we will be following a model view model directory approach, meaning we will have a directory for any future models, a directory for views, aka what the user will see on the interface, and the view model, which is what will be doing the heavy lifting in the background for our views, and which is what we created in the last episode with our global extension. So then we will be moving all the files into the respective directories, and even creating a root directory for our app root. So with that all finished, we can now continue and move on to the home view. To create a new file in Xcode, simply tap Command and N, and the following will appear. Then we will select a new SwiftUI file. Then we will name it Home View and press Create. And now we have the standard Hello World that we see when we create a new SwiftUI file. Then we will be creating a static let for our image. Now I will be using the Sopranos poster because it's one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show, and I think also the poster looks really good for this project. So we'll create a static let and we will paste in the URL for this poster, which will be in the description below if you want to follow along. And to make it fully functional, all we need to do is add some quotation marks. Now we will go back to home view and call this static let. So now in our home view, all we need to do is call that global and the static let with the string of the Sopranos poster. So we will make the variable equal to global and then the method of the example. Then we will remove the text with an image. However, since we will be using a URL, it is possible that the URL in the future may not exist. So instead of a standard image, we will need to use an async image. In addition to this, we will need to use a placeholder, and within the placeholder, we will add a progress view showing that when the user loads the app, it will show a progress view, i.e. a spinning wheel showing the user it is loaded. So we will create a VStack. Then within the VStack, we will create an async image and type the following code. We will type URL, semicolon, capital case URL, lowercase string, and there we will call the example that we just called from global. However, we will need an image in, and then that image itself we will then set to resizable and scaled to fit. However, as you can see, we're getting an image error. So now we will add an additional closure, which will be a placeholder. So we will type in placeholder, curly brackets, and just have a simple progress view for when the image is loading. As you can see, the image is far too big, so we will add resizable and also scale to fit modifiers. Then, once that is done, you will see the poster in a nice, clear format where everything can be seen. And just look how good that poster looks. Now we will move on to creating the buttons for play and download. So we will create a H-stack for the play button and the download button to be within. So we will end up typing H-stack, curly brackets, and then we will set within those curly brackets the play and download button. So we'll have a comment for the play button, and we'll create a button with curly brackets, and some code will end up going here. Then we need, because we didn't set a string within parameters of the button, we will need a label, and we'll simply now put text and play, and then you can see it loads and we have a play button. And now we'll just comment just to make it clear that the next button within the H-stack will be a download button. So we'll have button, curly brackets, and then some code will go in the button, and then a label, and then obviously we want to practice dry code, so we will end up not actually using download eventually, we will actually end up using global download string. So we'll remove the string with the text of download, and we'll type global, and then we will get the download string, and we'll see here that when it loads we have download. Now again, to practice good dry code, because we may be using play elsewhere, we'll go back to our global, we'll type in static let play string, and we'll simply make it equal to play. Then we can end up going back to home view, and we can type in the global play string. You can then see that once we type in global dot play string, when the canvas eventually loads, we will have a play button and download button, all whilst practicing good clean code. Now as you can see, the buttons are quite bland at the moment, so we will want to add modifiers to make them more visually appealing. So let's get on to it. So we will add a frame with the parameters of width and height. So width will be 100 and the height will be 50. Then we will make the text bold with a simple bold modifier. So dot bold, we'll remove the true because it's true by default. Then we will add a background with a rounded rectangle and a corner radius and a style. The corner radius will be 5 and the style will be continuous. So rounded rectangle, then within the rounded rectangle we will select corner radius, we'll set the corner radius to 5, and we'll set the style to continuous. But as you can see, when the canvas eventually loads, we will have the text of play being hidden behind the background, only being visible when we click it. So to fix that, we need to add a stroke modifier and make it visible with a line width of probably 5, which will probably be good enough to see the play button. So we'll do stroke, line width 5, wait for the canvas to load, and then once it loads, you can see now we have the play button. Nice. Now this is a good place again to practice some good code and do not repeat yourself dry, because we could just copy and paste it for the download button, but instead we're going to create an extension in our global struct, in our global file, and then we'll be able to just call it in both the play and the download buttons. So we'll remove it from the download button, and in addition to this we will improve the UI so the text changes on the color scheme based on what the user has set their phone, whereby if in light mode the text will be black, and if in dark mode the text will be light. So we'll go to assets, create new color set, and then we'll name it button style. We'll then open the sidebar on the right, button style. There we go. Took time. Then we go to the tab bar on the right. We open it, and then we change the appearances to none. And then we click on the color we want to change. We then click Show Color Panel, and we type in 89CFF0, which will give us a nice baby blue color, such as the one we see now when we press enter. Then, once we've got rid of that, we will then create a color set for the changing system usage that the user has, and we'll name it button text. We will then click any appearance, then show the color panel, and because the default will be light on most phones, we will set it to black, which is 6 zeros. So once we've got that, we will then be able to go back to the home screen, and we will be able to use these two colors that we use, the baby blue and the dynamic light and white text. So we will go back to our home view, and we will then close the right hand side panel just to make more space for ourselves. Then within the struct modifier, we will add the baby blue button background border. So we will simply call the asset that we created, which would be the button style. Then when the canvas loads, we should see the new border being baby blue. And there we have it, the nice baby blue button. Now we will add the modifier of foreground style, which targets the text. So under our frame modifier, we will type dot foreground style, and then we will call the button text asset that we created. And then we can then see that in light mode it is black, and then we go to the toggle and we set color scheme toggle on. We'll see the dark, the color is white, and then in light mode the text is black. Dark, white, light, black. Then, as previously mentioned earlier, we do not want to copy code every time. So once again, we will practice dry code, and we will put the whole section of modifiers into an extension of text and create a function, all so that we can use the function again in home view when we call it. So in our global file, in our shared directory, we will type the following: extension text, because text is an object, and then func, and then we will name the function button text style, and we will return with a line and an arrow some view and self. The self relates to all text, so when calling it we just need to add a modifier, and then this method, a method is a function with an object. So when we call it, we will just need to do text, or actually global, and then the button style, which will be done in foreground style. So then in our home view, we will copy those various modifiers, we will paste them into the newly created self function button text style. Then all we need to do now is go back to the home button and replace all those various modifiers with calling the modifier of dot button text style. So we will go back to the home view, we will delete all of these, and then we will simply do dot button text style. And then we will do the same for the download button, and we will see when the canvas loads, we will get both the play and the button download doing the same things. And as you can see, if we go from dark to light, we will still have in light mode dark text, and in dark mode light text. So we've practiced good dry code, and we've implemented button and async images whilst also maintaining good dry code and a good UI. And with that, I think it's good to end and a good place to stop, and in the next episode we'll develop the project even more. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye.